Well, hello, everybody. How's everybody doing there? How are you guys doing? We got the source over here, and then we've got Frankenstein. No, that's not Frankenstein. That's Scott Schroeder. What's going on, Scott?
What's up?
How's it going, Matt?
I'm here.
That counts. It counts for something. Believe me, it does. Hey, we're gonna hop into this one. We got a little F1. It's race week, or as Ferrari likes to say, I don't even know. It's week race time or something like that. They did that weird. I can't remember what it said, but it didn't work out for him. It looked terrible, but hey, it's race week. I'm excited. Not only is the F1 season back, we have new regulations, we have new rules, we have new cars, and we have seen testing. We've seen no side pods. We've seen side pods big enough to bathe a baby. We have seen about all of it, and we are going to talk about that here today. I'm excited, guys. I hope you are as well. We got plenty to get into, so let's get into it. Let's talk first. Out of the cars you've seen, what car, Matt, Scott, do you guys think, not cars, but car, do you think looks the best?
Scott, I'll let you take it first.
I like the Ferrari. I've never been a big Ferrari guy, but I do like the Ferrari the way it looks.
That is the one I was referencing. Being able to bathe a child in those side pods is, whoo! Those things are that's big. It's big. I like it.
Yep.
I mean, I would agree, but I think if you're talking different look, I kind of like how the Alfa Romero looks with that paint, with the livery that they have on that, the red and white, how they have it.
It looks like the old Marlboro.
Yeah,
you
and
remember the old Marlboro ones?
Yeah, and it just flows with that car. I mean, just the way with the new car and stuff, it just flows with it. I think that's a pretty slick looking car.
I think it's hard not to say the Mercedes with the innovation, with everything that we've seen, but I gotta agree. Like if we're just talking straight sex appeal, like that Ferrari, man, whoo baby. Oh,
right,
baby.
Just looks like an F1 car.
Baby.
Yeah, I mean,
oh man, I can't say it enough. It just that looks absolutely fantastic. So definitely, I'd have to say the Ferrari looks the best, appealing wise. But I think that Mercedes. I know they said that they have some issues to go through, but I think we're used to hearing Mercedes say that throughout. But man, the zero side pod look. As of right now, it might not look the best, but I think that thing's gonna be fast.
I also kind of like the Williams though, like that basic blue look to it with that little design on the side. I think that's pretty nifty.
I do agree. I like that livery a lot. I think that does look good, but I just don't know how much behind the wheel is going on there.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, time will tell.
Time will tell, exactly. Let's hop right into it. We're gonna go down, and if you guys think that we got this wrong, you let us know. You let us know as we go around who your countdown is here, because we're gonna start right at number 20, and we're gonna go down the line. So Scott is to give you guys a little reference on why the heck Scott's here. What's his credit here? Scott and myself, we sit in every F1 race, and we sit there and we talk every race, every Sunday that's on. We're sitting there analyzing that race. We're sitting there talking through it, watching it together. So Scott's my go-to F1 buddy there. You got to have the buddy system. You got to have the buddy system.
Somebody's got to be up sometimes with you at 2 or 3 in the morning to watch the races, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, we were watching practice the other night. It's 2 a.m. I was like, man, I might only make about 10 minutes of this practice, but he stayed up. He watched the same 10 minutes with me. We at least got to see those new cars on the track.
Yep, got to see them.
So let's go ahead and bang this out here. Let's start off. Scott, who you got coming in number 20? And I'm assuming at number 20, you don't think this person's going to score any points either.
Right, exactly. And I'm not sure his last name. The new guy from China. Is it Guani?
Zhao?
G-U, whatever his name is.
I go off of Zhao, the Z.
Zhao.
Yep.
Oh, okay. He's got 3 names, yes. Just looked his stats up because I didn't know anything about this guy. I really didn't until they signed him and started looking into him a little bit. I mean, not a bad driver. anybody in Formula One's not a bad driver. He's had a decent career, but nothing you could really. I mean, didn't win the Formula 2 championship last year. Came in third, wasn't even close. So I know he's got money. So that's probably what Alfa Romeo's thinking. But yeah, I just think he's going to struggle this year.
Fair enough there, and I do, from what I hear, that car might not be top tier either. So it'd be interesting to see as far as that. Matt, are we taking you off the game here, having you rank a little F1? I know that Matt he's a little more on the dirt side than me, but I sway a little more open wheel F1 than Matt. I just want to make sure I'm not throwing you off here.
No, I follow it pretty. I'm not as much as what you do, but I really, really follow it as much as I can because it's hard for me to want to get up at certain times in the morning.
It is. Those Sunday mornings can be hard. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, after a night of drinking at the dirt tracks, But I do follow it. I agree with Scott, though. I really think Zhao was probably coming in at 20. If we're gonna go up the, which I know we are, when we go up the list, there's gonna be guys that I think should be higher, just based on how preseason testing went. And you read all the so-called experts with all their rankings and stuff, and you see where they have some of these guys, and it just baffles me where they have certain teams and certain drivers. But I agree. I think Zhao's probably at the bottom just because we really don't know anything about him and what he's going to be capable of doing yet. So I want him to prove me wrong. I want him to, maybe score a point or two, but I don't see it happening.
Absolutely. I can see where the like Scott said, it just the credentials, I guess, that he has stacked up, not as impressive as the rest of the field here. So I do differ off of your guys' on that one, but I think the guy coming out here next year not going to score any points, unfortunately, is a guy that has seen his time in a major seat. And I think Alexander Albon is going to really struggle in that Williams next year. I think that Williams is going to really struggle in the Williams next year. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. But Alexander Albon is my number 20 for the so that we've got the worst out. The worst is out now. Now we go like mid-pack. I feel like maybe these first two are like the ones that we think are really going to be bad, but then you go to the mid-pack, and this gets tough in F1. But, Scott, who you got for 19?
19, I'm with you on the Williams because I think they're making strides, but they were so far behind. But they're going to get a little bit better, but, yeah, they're going to struggle. I don't have Albon. I have Latifi at 19.
Fair enough.
I have Albon. I agree. I think the Williams are going to struggle a little bit. But I think Latifi being the seasoned vet for them is going to help them out. I think he's going to know a little bit better and have better understanding on how the Williams program works. Albon's fresh. Albon's got talent. We all know that, but I think Latifi being the seasoned vet, I have him up a little bit higher.
Absolutely, and that's the reason right there that I actually didn't choose Latifi as my last place, is because you look at it and you see kind of the what happened last year where Latifi outscored George Russell. So it's like, okay, you're not that bad. I mean, you're back there, you're doing this, and they're talking George Russell up, so you got to be doing something right there. But so that I'm not even putting Latifi in 19. I'm actually this is where Zhao does come in, and I put that Alfa Romeo, the Chinese
in their defense.
19.
Didn't both the Williams drivers only score points in that one race?
No, Latifi. Both of those guys were able to get some top 10s there. So
okay, I remember the one race. Okay.
You're saying Spa when it was rained out.
Yes.
Yeah, that was Russell. He got the podium off of that one, but no, they did score.
Was it podium or second?
Oh, that's a podium. First, second,
You're
third
right,
is a
right.
my gosh.
I was thinking
I tell
qualifying.
people you know what you're talking about, and then
did
you
he
come on here
qualify
and
in
you say
second?
that. Did he?
Didn't he
Yeah,
qualify in second?
yeah. So that
Yes.
was the one where they qualified. They went out for one lap. They tried to do it
That's
behind
right,
the pace car. They was like, we can't do this. This ain't gonna happen. So, we go down the line now. 18. Scott, we're hopping in. So
We're hopping in.
So right now, neither of us have the same team hitting. I mean, we all have the same teams in those bottom two, but neither of us have like a 1-2 finish like we saw at Haas last year.
Right.
Or I should say,
I'm actually going with
finish.
another team in the 18th spot here.
Who you got?
I got Yuki.
Now, you don't like him. You back off, Yuki.
I don't. I think he's too young. I think it's too early for him. I think they're going to struggle this year.
Look at what he did last year, though. I think
I know, and he's had. I think
that was a solid rookie campaign. I don't think you could be upset with that.
I just
he don't like Yuki. Everybody, he don't like Yuki.
It's nothing against just his work ethic and the way he comes out. I just don't like Yuki.
All right, if Drive to Survive didn't show you Yuki Tsunoda this year, is he still your 17th place?
He might have been a little higher, but he does wreck some cars too.
He does.
Give him that.
I will agree with that. He is a little careless there.
I think the pressure's going to get to the young man this year.
Fair enough. Matt, who you got coming in at 18?
So I said for the last driver that I had his teammate a little bit higher. I have Latifi at 18, and it's nothing against him. But when you hear what I have ranking wise, like some of these were pretty hard because of because of testing. I think some of these guys are going to do a lot better, but the cream always rises to the top, and it's going to be so hard for them just to break into that top 10. That's just the way the talent level is. I don't hate Latifi, but I think it's a good fit for him, and I think he's going to be competitive. But again, you're going up against top-notch teams and top-notch drivers. I think it's just going to be hard for that breakthrough for him.
Fair enough. And honestly, I'm going to go with the same person right there. I'm going to go with Nicholas Latifi. So he's going to finish a little out there, but he's going to score a few points here. I don't know how many, but I think he does get in a couple point scoring situations here. So it'll be interesting to see how Williams really takes it, because they were having a solid year last year. They hit the middle of the year, and it looked like they just started to kind of go back down. And so it'll be interesting to see, without their golden boy George Russell, how that team really fares out there. So that puts my number 10 constructors at the Williams team right there myself.
Yeah, I have Williams at number 10 in constructors as well.
Yeah, that's where I have them.
So there's that. We've nailed out one constructor gone, and we got three drivers.
I still have a Williams driver.
Three drivers. You do. 3 drivers down here. But I'm going to say, with you saying Williams as being your least,
he's not that high up.
He's got to be the next one. 17. Who you got?
I do not have him at 17. I'm probably going to take some heat from this. I think it's going to be Schumacher. I like Schumacher. I really do. I just think he needs a little more time. Haas has just been through so much over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Even losing sponsors, more than one, and just everything. I think they're going to struggle a little bit again. And I hate that for them. But, yeah, that's where I got Schumacher's at 17.
I mean, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, I'm the same, but I'm not going to discredit the fact that he looked really good in testing. I mean, he looked really fast. I think he's going to score points this year. I think Haas is actually going to get some points, especially with the team that they have, which makes it tough because I don't want to put either one of them near the bottom, but they're combined. I think they're going to be okay this year. I don't think they're going to compete for wins, but definitely I can see them competing for some top 10s here and there. But yeah, I'm with Scott. The experience level is what's going to keep him near the bottom.
Fair enough there. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from there. I see it. Now, I think people are going to kind of maybe cock their head a little on this one, because this is a team that we saw kind of not really show too much good fortune, not really show too much solid progression at testing, and I got to go with Esteban Ocon here. I think that Alpine team is going to have a rough go. I think it's going to be a kind of a down year, if you will, for there. And I think Ocon is going to be battling with my next driver constantly throughout the season. It'll be a battle. It'll be a good battle to watch. But I do think that the Alpine team is Alpine is going to have a hard time really pushing forward this year. So we've nailed that out. We go right in to number 16. And, I'll go ahead. I'll take the lead here since I was talking about my guy battling right here with him. And I go back to Alfa Romeo in what we saw the top battler last year, one of at least, and Valtteri Bottas. I think he throws that car around, does a decent job, but at the same time, I don't think he's got much car to throw around. We saw Kimi, if he can't throw that thing around very well, I don't think Bottas is any better than what Kimi is, so I got to put him at 16th. Scott, we'll go up to you here.
Fair. Yeah. Now we go back, and I go back to the Williams. That's where I got Albon is at 16. I like Alex. I do. I think that car's still got a little ways to go. They're better than they were, but they still got a ways to go.
You're gonna hate me, Sean. My next pick, and I don't want to do this, and I'm going to disagree with you because it is a new car, and this is what makes a difference between Bottas and Kimi. Kimi and them were at a disadvantage. I think Bottas and them are going to have a bit of an advantage because everything is pretty much similar. I have Kevin Magnussen here, and it's nothing against him. He's been out of it for a little while, and it's a completely different car. I think it's going to take a little while for him to get adjusted, and it's still a Haas. How well are they going to be able to gel again? Because, they gelled pretty good towards the back end of his career in Haas. Can they bring that magic back? And I don't know if they actually can. I think all the focus is on Mick and making Mick the number one guy at Haas.
And I can see where you're saying there, but I don't want to defend Haas too much here, but I think you got a bad apple out of the mix. You got somebody there that nobody wanted there. You got somebody there that just really people didn't see the need, the necessary to even bring him in. And he's there, and you look at the first 3-4 races, and he's spinning it around. He's costing the team money. Now, granted, his dad's paying the bill, but still, I think that was such of a dark cloud. I really think now that that is gone, it's almost like a weight off of their shoulders. Like, yeah, there's a lot of money out of their pocket, but it's also a weight off of their shoulders. Like, I feel like now Magnussen and Mick can kind of sit down, and that's what Mick needs is a solid guy that's been in F1, knows how to do F1, knows how to really, really walk around. And I think putting two rookies on that team and then really thinking Mick was going to progress with Nikita was a bad idea from the first start. So I feel like Magnussen's going to be a good teammate for him. So
I think Magnussen will help Mick out. I think Magnussen's been around a while, so yeah.
Right. So
yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just think by the time that Magnussen left the sport, not by choice, and the time he's coming back, everything is too equal. It seems like it's gonna be too equal this year. I just think it's hard to say like Bottas is gonna be really bad at Alfa Romeo. Kimi was at a disadvantage because Alfa Romeo, let's face it, was not the greatest team in the world. But now they're at like a more advantage of having like similarities to every other car out there, and it's driver to driver, basically driver versus driver essentially. And I think Bottas is just too good of a driver to say, hey, you know what, you're going to be a back marker in this new car. I really think that because I'll tell you, I have him pretty high up on my list. So,
and I could see that happening. They're just saying K-Mag knows what a good car feels like. Yeah, since he has taken off, because I don't want to stick on Magnussen for too long, but you gotta go and look at what he's driven. He's driven an Indy car, which when you look at the tires, when you look at the feel of it, is more like what they have right now in the F1 with the downforce and the ground effect. stuff like that. Like I said, getting that tire up to temperature. So that could possibly help him. Now, granted, he didn't do too much IndyCar. He just had a couple test days and then did get a race one with, I believe it was McLaren then when Felix was out. So past that, he also drove in the IMSA and the WEC series, and on that, he was a top-tier guy. So it's going to be interesting. I think that year off, maybe a breath of fresh air for him. So, I mean, I'll go ahead and hit off 15 since we're talking about it, but this is where I do put Mick Schumacher in at that 15. I think he is going to be the lower of the two this year just because, like, I mean, we're hitting on all these positive things on K-Mag, and like I said, I think really that year off last year, kind of a breath of fresh air. We've seen so many guys come back after a year or two off. Kimi, for example, Michael, Fernando, a lot of these guys that were, the bigger names and such like that, and then they come back and they're able to make something happen. So we'll see how that works. I'm not putting him up with those guys tiered level, but still being able to step away, take a break, and really analyze yourself and test out some new cars and see how it works. I think it all went into his benefit here. But like I said, I put Mick at 15. I think he has a lot better year this year. Sees maybe a Q3 even, because I do believe the Haas car has some potential this year. Scott, who you got at 15?
Yeah, at 15, I got Magnussen at 15. Just where I put him. And let's touch on that for a minute. I know we're hanging around Magnussen a lot, but how many of these guys actually get fired from Formula One, go somewhere else?
Right.
They're just dominant or, winning championships and other things,
It's funny because, I mean, we say that, and it's both the Haas drivers from that
right.
era. I mean, that goes to show you that car they had was just absolute dog poop.
And I would really like to know, was their first call to Grosjean? He said no. I mean, I would really like to know that.
Well, I watched a video from Grosjean, and he actually touched on it, and he was like, if they even asked, I would have said no in a heartbeat because I'm so focused on an IndyCar champion. I mean, he knows he's got a top-tier car in IndyCar right now.
He's in what, Andretti now?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you want to leave that?
I would. Not to go back to, if you're going back to
right, not
Ferrari or
exactly.
a Mercedes, but you're going back to a Haas, so yeah.
Matt, who you got at 15?
I have Yuki at 15, and my reasoning for this is that he was actually in the top 10 in testing. I think he's got the talent to be a competitive driver. I just think it's his attitude when things go wrong and how angry he gets is going to affect him. I hope after watching Drive to Survive, like he stayed in, I guess it was Italy or whatever, and is living there permanently, and that's going to shape him up a little bit because I'd love to move him farther up my ranking, but I think Yuki is a good fit at 15.
Fair enough. I can see where you're saying there. Like I can see, and I'm not going to say the hate, but I can see where the disdain, the maybe the bad taste in the mouth for Yuki would come from.
I don't hate him. I don't have bad taste for him. It's just like,
I'm saying in general.
Yeah. Like it's more so like the theory of what have you done for me now, and not what have you done for me lately. Like, yeah, he showed his moments where he can run with the big dogs, but he still has not been a front runner, and he has wrecked a lot of cars from making stupid mistakes. If he can pull those mistakes back, I'll absolutely let's put him in the top 10. But I don't know if he's at that point yet. Like, testing is one thing. Let's put him on the track for a full race weekend and see what he can do for a full race weekend.
Yeah, I think that this is really going to answer so many questions come this weekend here, and I'm so excited. I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and you know what? I think I like it. But we go down to 14 now. Scott, we'll go back up to you here. Who you got coming in 14th?
14th, this is where I got Bottas. I hate to put him down this low. It's just, I mean, you never hear him say it, but Kimi couldn't wait to get out of that car.
Right, yeah. Hopefully Bottas doesn't like water or like stepping in it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where I got Bottas. Not that I think he's bad. It's just I think he's on a bad team.
Matt, who you got at 14th?
This might come in as a shock for you, but I have Lance Stroll down here at 14. I just don't know if Lance Stroll is the answer for the other teammate for Aston Martin. I don't know. I know his dad's got all this money in it, but it's him or Sebastian Vettel. And are you really going to make Sebastian Vettel the non-number one guy?
Oh, his dad doesn't
Lance
have
Stroll?
money in it. His dad owns
Dad
it.
owns
So
it.
But that's what I'm saying.
that's
Oh, I know.
his.
Well, I know, but my point of that is like, look at mostly spins. How his daddy had the money into the team, and that's how he got his ride. I personally think that's the only reason why Lance Stroll is still in this sport. To be honest with you,
I'm not disagreeing there.
No,
He hasn't.
Not at all.
He hasn't shown me anything that says, "Hey, you know what? He's a champion contender." Like, no, I have him kind of high on the list here at 14. I think he could be lower on my list, but it's just something about him and that Aston Martin being teamed up with Vettel. Like, I think Vettel's just going to blow him out of the water once again this year.
And I think that is a very good possibility, honestly. I don't think that's a bad call. But this is where I go, and I put Yuki. I put Yuki down at 14 here.
Yeah.
I think that's a solid season, but not as good as what, obviously what he had last year. But this car, well, you talked about it, and I hate to touch on this again, but just because it gives you the fact that you won. But if this car is so much more of a physical car, this car is so much more of a you've really got to toss this thing around. It's not a very easy that W12 they were talking about. I mean, compared to this is just the muscle that it's going to take. It's back like you're throwing that car around in the 90s where those guys they get
he's
out.
He's not a big guy,
and that's what I'm saying. That's where I think he's going to have his downfalls here throughout the season is in the physical aspect, and him being a little smaller. I don't think it's going to work out too well for him. So I see him in 14th here. Moving on down the line, we're almost through the halfway point here, but I think we've nailed down another constructor, at least for most of us. And so I got Williams at 10. I'm going to have Alfa Romeo coming in at number 9 myself.
Exactly where I got him.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't have how I have them on here because obviously my list is a little bit different. So
I think well, fair enough. Yeah, because you got Bottas. Yeah. You can chime in then here a little later. So we go to 13th place. Scott, who you
13th.
picking?
I've got this team a little bit better than you, Sean. I got Alpine. I got Esteban here. I know they're struggling now, but just the way Alonso is with that team and his relentlessness, I think they turn it around. I don't know if they'll win a race again this year, but I just got them a little bit better. That's where I got Esteban is in 13th.
Fair
yeah,
enough.
that's exactly where I have Esteban too. But I think to your point though, Scott, is I do think they will be better, but I also do think they get another lucky win per se. Not so much like the field wrecking out, but both of them in the rain are not bad drivers. So like we're going to have a bunch of rain races, and it could be one of these situations with Russell at Williams last year where he qualified out in the front row and ended up second because of all the rain that they had for whatever race that I forget which race that was, but
Spa.
I think
and I actually forgot about that until Sean brought that up earlier.
That was terrible.
So I'm with you. I have Esteban here, but I do think that he and or Fernando Alonso get in victory lane this year for Alpine.
I would love to see Fernando in victory lane again.
That's an understatement right there. An absolute understatement. That would be absolutely phenomenal to see. But so we move on to 13, and this is where I kind of agree with Matt. I think Stroll, he's going to stroll himself here right outside of the top half. And I think this new car, again, it's going to be a little too much for him to really overcome this season.
Yep.
So moving on to 12th place, Scott.
12, and I'm right with you guys. That's where I got Stroll. I'm not high on him. The only reason he's above the couple guys there, I really struggled here between.
I think he's got a car. That's the thing.
He does.
I think he's got the car. I think that Aston Martin's a solid car.
Right, where Magnussen and Bottas, they don't have the car. They're better drivers, I think. They don't have the car, but that's where I got Stroll is in 12th place.
I actually have Vettel here, and I love Vettel. I think that he is still a great ambassador for the sport. And I think the fact that Aston Martin is running Mercedes engines is what intrigues me with Vettel at 12, because he's a really talented driver. He's consistent, and he's not going to wreck the car too much, at least not on his own doing. So it's hard to say that like Sebastian Vettel is going to be just outside the top 10, but when you hear what my like top 10 is, you'll understand why I have him where he is.
Oh, fair enough there. I'll go with that. We look down the line, and this is where one I almost wish I could go a little higher with, but I just don't think, again, if we go down to the car, we go down to the reliability. It looks a little scary, and when you talk reliability, and I say this driver, it's a name and something that just really don't go well together. It's like lamb and tuna fish, and that's Fernando Alonso. So I just think that it's going to be a tough car to really take. I'd love to see him do better, but I think they're going to be a little unreliable this year. Like I said, that Alpine team is it's my wild card this year. If I had a wild card team to pick, that's it. They could come out and surprise people, because I did read something today where they have figured out porpoising. We'll see. That's that huge issue that makes them look like they're at a rock show mosh pitting when they're driving. They're sitting there just, and I can't imagine just that bounce that would be just absolutely
Doing that at 200 miles an hour.
Oh my God, I'd get sick in a heartbeat, man. But so I mean, they say that they have got over this cusp here, but I mean, we'll see. That is still something to be told. So looking forward to see that. But yeah, unfortunately, I don't think Alpine. I put them higher than I really think could happen because of that reliability issue, honestly. So we go down. What are we, 11th now?
11th.
Yeah.
11th place.
Our,
So close
our
it
lists
in.
are pretty close here too, because this is where I got Fernando. I got him at 11.
Right outside of that
Right
top half.
outside that top 10. I got him and his teammate in 13th. So I think they're going to be a little bit better than what you guys think. But yeah, there's just a lot of big hitters up there coming up in the top 10.
Yep.
I'm going to take a lot of slack for this, and I don't care, but this is where my confidence comes in. I have Valtteri Bottas at number 11.
Fair enough.
And I think it's more so the fact that, like, again, this is a new car, and if you look at the testing result, in testing, he was, I think, maybe the most he was off was like 2 seconds off the quick time on test one to Pierre Gasly, but the last one when they had Old Town, he was only a second off of Verstappen, and that's huge for that Alfa Romeo. So that's why I think Bottas is going to make that car so much better than what it is, and I think this is where we're going to see how good Bottas really is in a bottom-tier team.
I mean, we saw him with Williams before he came to Mercedes. That's what really made him shine. I think he got a podium, was the last one before Russell to achieve that. So he's shown he could do it in a lower tier car. I really think they have swung and missed this year. That's the bad thing.
Well, I'm confident he's going to be right around 11.
I'm with you, and I like it. I'd love to see him. I would love.
I wish I could have put Bottas higher. I really do. I'm with you, Sean. I think they're going to struggle.
So, and they have him for a long contract, though. That's the thing with him. So he's comfortable there. If they can really kind of progress that car around him, we'll see. I do hope that he does end up having some success there. So,
and he's one of them drivers right now. I don't think he's done. I don't think he wants to be out of this.
No,
kind of like Kimi was ready to go. I really think Kimi was ready to go. But Bottas, he wants to be around.
But see, here's my thing though too, and this is a testament to the difference in your engine manufacturers this year. Ferrari has really stepped up their engine program for this year across the board, and they're in a Ferrari.
Yeah.
So I that's where I really think like this is a good spot for Bottas, because I think he's going to make the Ferrari engine work with the Alfa Romeo.
And I can see what you're saying there, and I'm with you. So 11th place, right outside of that top 10, and I think this is gonna honestly, it's gonna make him mad that he.
Oh yeah.
That he finished in this spot right outside of the top 10, because I think he's coming back to F1 to finish in the top 10. He thinks he can. he thinks he could do this, but I think Magnussen finishes P11 here, just shy. But that's some good finishes across the board to get there. In all honesty, that's where I put Magnussen. So
Top 10.
We've made it to the top half here. The top half now coming on, and boy oh boy, let's get it rolling right off the bat here, because I'm excited to see how you guys got these guys, because there's some solid names in here, different regulations. Wonder if it's gonna look like a normal lineup here. Let's see, Scott, who you got at 10.
At number 10, I have Mr. Sebastian Vettel.
All
That's
right,
where I got him.
Matt.
That's a solid pick, but I'll give you Pierre Gasly. And again, this is another kid, so much talent. I think he steals another win this year like he did last year. But in the right circumstance, like, Gasly can compete with the top guys. Like, he's showing it. I think if something were to happen to, like, Perez at Red Bull, I think Gasly would be the perfect fit for them.
You think Red Bull would ever take him?
Try it again. I don't know. If not, he wouldn't be on that team. That's what I'm saying.
I know. But he does so good in the AlphaTauri.
And I do agree with that.
Yeah.
But so 10th place, I got to agree with you on this one, Scott. I got to go Sebastian Vettel. A solid driver, a great job done throughout his career. But there's some young, hungry guys out here, and I think that's going to kind of top Vettel. Vettel doesn't seem like he wants to be out of F1, but he seems like he's there to almost make a change now, not win races. So
let me ask you, you had Vettel at 10?
Yes.
So did you have Stroll already down the list somewhere?
Yeah, he was
Okay.
14 or something.
Okay,
So,
I got you.
Yeah, I think Vettel is going to be number 10 driver. Like I said, I feel like he's there to change things now more so than win races.
Yes, yeah.
But the dude, he still can drive, top tier driver.
Oh, he can still drive. Yes.
So
definitely he's the highlight of that team right now. I think that team would be a lot better, really, if they had that different driver in there besides Stroll, but
not gonna happen.
No, it's not.
When your dad buys you an F1 team, you don't get cut.
Yeah, that's true.
Unless you have ties to
yeah, fair enough. Unless your dad gets cut from the team, and then you do too.
Yeah.
So we did see that. But so all right, we moved to ninth here. Who you got? P9.
Number 9. Oh, just stick a knife in my heart. I hated to put him down here.
This is exactly who I have. I knew it.
Ricardo.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
I think he's going to struggle a little bit more this year because I think his teammates really going to run over him, and that bothers him.
Yeah.
You've seen it in the past. It bothers him. Whether he was at Red Bull or Lando at the beginning of last year, that eats at him when his teammates beating him. And Lando he's a star, and he's coming up, and I think it's gonna eat at Daniel a little bit. So.
Yeah, and I think also him missing this the first practice, this only practice really that they had so many laps, that's going to put you behind. And that's why I agree with you, because even if you do catch fire near the end in that McLaren, because I think it's going to be a solid car, you're still not going to be on fire here to start the season, I don't think.
But he didn't even
time lost.
He didn't even have a good race till after the summer break, if I remember right. I mean, he was struggling when he first came into that McLaren last year.
But that's nothing out of the ordinary, because that's what we saw with Ricardo, is he always had to have that like kind of little
confidence.
step in. Yeah, he had to step in, give him a year, and then he kind of really hit. Like you look at Renault, he got that podium in his second year. He got the win at McLaren in his first year. I'm not going to say that was handed to him, but that win, he definitely had to manage it. He definitely had to keep it up. But yeah,
and he definitely had his teammate behind him that was
pushing a little hard. Definitely wanted
hard, and maybe some team orders there, and hold up. I think it was Lewis behind them or something. It's
Lewis
it's a
and
win.
Max were out of that one.
Oh, that's right. There was somebody else in that Lando was back there racing pretty hard with. I can't remember who it was, but
I want to say
Sainz. It was Carlos, I think. Yeah, now that you say that.
So, but yeah. So Matt, who you got coming in ninth?
Okay, so this one pains me because honestly, and no joke, my top 9, like from here on out, like this was a crapshoot for me on who could be in these spots because I like all of them. I put Checo at number 9, and there's nothing against Checo. I think him and Red Bull fit. I think him and Max fit. But with the other 8 that are in front of him, and I'm going to disagree. I think Ricardo, this is going to be a good year for him in McLaren. I think McLaren can compete for second and or third in the constructors. I think both of them this year are going to have a fantastic year. And that's why it's so hard for me to have Checo at number 9. But that's where I put him.
I really hope you're right because I'm a Ricardo guy. I love Daniel.
So we move on to P8 here. Scott, who you got coming in 8th place?
Yeah, I got Mr. Gasly, Pierre Gasly, and I think he's the top best fit for that car. I mean, he's going to give that AlphaTauri everything it's got. He always does, and I just think that's the best that car can do is 8th.
Fair enough. Not a bad finish for him, I wouldn't think. Matt, who you got coming in P8?
I have Alonso here at P8. I think he's obviously going to be the top dog for Alpine this year, and I have them, somewhat close. And Ocon's down a little bit farther. I think Alonso, this is going to be another good year for him. I think this will suit him perfectly. I think we're not going to see like 05 Alonso, but we're going to see consistent. I can run up front. I'm going to get podiums Alonso this year.
I would love to see that. I really hope so. But like I said, I just don't know if that reliability is there in that car. So time will tell, at least on that one. So it comes down to me. And I think Scott and I's top 10 is pretty much lined up pretty darn well there because I agree with you on that. I'm a huge Pierre Gasly fan. That's my driver. I just don't think that Gasly has anything else to perform with outside of that. You'd have to get him in a better car. You get him in a top-tier car, and he's going to give you a championship, I think. But until you give him that car, and I know people have said you did before, but no, you were trying to give Max a winning teammate, and that wasn't the winning teammate. So I think Gasly comes in 8th, and a very happy, a solid 8th place there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Rolling down into 7th place, Scott. Who you got?
7th. This is where you find the first Mercury. I got George Russell in 7th place.
So he has switched from Mercedes to Mercury via Scott.
Yeah.
Breaking news here.
Mercedes. I got Merc down here.
Bringing the silver bullet.
Yep. So yeah, I think he has a decent year. Just him being up there. He's talented. I think he's gonna be world champion someday. I really do. Just not this year. So see how it goes.
Matt, who you picking?
I'm gonna make Scott very happy on this. I have Ricardo here in 7th. I think again this comes back to the whole McLaren deal. I think McLaren literally has come so far since the days of having like Senna and all them in their cars. I really think that McLaren is probably going to be one of the top constructor teams this year, and it's going to be hard to say, even with his time off, that Ricardo's not going to be competitive at all in this car. I mean, and this is our rankings, and everybody that's watching and listening, like they can disagree or they can agree with whatever we say, and we all have our own opinions. But I think this car is definitely a difference maker, and I think Ricardo is a good driver that you put him head-to-head against some of these guys, he's going to come out on top against some of these guys, whether he had missed testing or not. I think he's that good of a driver that he can go head-to-head with some of these guys and beat them one-on-one.
I like what you're throwing there. I like what you're throwing. So this is where we all kind of differ down the line because you look at the 7th place here, and this is where I pencil in my first red one. This is where I got my first red pin out.
Really?
I do. I got Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc coming in.
We're going to talk about this a little bit because you got Leclerc under Carlos.
And the reason, what you go back to Monaco last year, you tell him to push, and he overdrives the car.
Yep.
Leclerc is known for overdriving that car, and that scares me. That
Yeah.
scares me. I think this car has a lot of ability to be overdriven, and I think it's going to happen early. I still think Leclerc is going to be a world champion. I think he's got the capability because he's got the same kind of driving style as Max. He's got that same aggression. He's got that same desire, everything.
Killer instinct, yeah.
He does, but I just don't think it's fully. It's not ready to hit that button just yet and release it. So I think this is where in seventh place Charles Leclerc comes in here, but again we're going to see a couple poles. We're going to see some podiums from that from Leclerc, I think. But I just think he's going to overdrive a couple races, and those DNFs will kill you come these top 10 places. Mm-hmm. So we move down into sixth place, one out of the top five. One out of the top five.
When I had this list, I had 6 guys that I got to put in the top 5. They have to be there.
Right?
But you can only put 5, and I hated this, but I think he's going to do good. It seems like Matt's a little higher on this team than I am, even though I really like this team, but I got Lando in 6th. I think he's going to have a good year, more podiums, and the kid is just a star in the making. What is he, 22, 23? Young.
Yeah.
So he's got time. I think I just couldn't put him in the top 5 with who I got there.
Fair enough. Matt, who you got coming in P6?
So Scott can't put him in the top 5, and I have him pretty far up on my list. But I have George Russell here, and my reason for this is because of the fact he did really well in one race with Mercedes where Lewis Hamilton wasn't on track, where he's filling in for Lewis Hamilton. I think he pushes Lewis Hamilton to the brink as a teammate. But it's still going to be the Lewis Hamilton show at Mercedes. And again, I'm with you. You have 6 guys trying to go for a top 5, and it's hard to choose out of those 6 who the top 5 drivers are. I think all 6 of these guys that I have on my list here, awesome. They're all capable of being winners. I do think George gets a win this year. I mean, I don't think it's going to be just all Lewis winning, but I really think George will push Lewis to the brink, but it's so hard to say how good he's going to be in that car when he had one race in that car and he didn't have to go up against Lewis Hamilton.
Fair enough.
Traditionally, Valtteri Bottas, he got, 1, maybe 2 wins a year in that car as a second seat, so...
They'd let him come out swinging pretty tough because it seemed like it was always at the beginning of the year when Lewis is just trying to wipe off the cobwebs. And then they would just put him back. It's like, oh, dude, we can't have another Rosberg situation here. You need
Russell
to throttle
very well
it down.
He very well could win a race this year. Russell could, yeah, I could see that.
So we're right outside. That's where I go. George Russell. I agree. I think it.
So we've all got Russell right outside.
Right outside. Right outside. I think he's got a solid car. But everybody loved when he was in that Mercedes last year. Thought he did a great job. I look at that. It's like, you they messed up in the pits one time with you, but you weren't giving us a Lewis Hamilton. You weren't giving us a Valtteri Bottas. You weren't giving us a Rosberg type performance here. So I don't know if I'm that high on what Russell has, and I think in my mind, if I was Mercedes. And I said this last year, and I can remember talking to you, Scott, about it. If I was Mercedes, who would I have picked up in the offseason for Bottas? The one guy that's mad at his team. The one guy that has shown you he could do everything that he wanted. And I said, if he had a top-tier drive, he'd have it.
Pierre
Gasly. I really think that Russell is just a mid-tier guy here. So for me, I think keeping him out of my top 5 was a lot easier than what it was for you guys.
And I would have loved to see Gasly in that seat, but you and I know it wasn't going to happen. It's been George for
years
now.
They've had that lined up since he was at Williams, but yeah. I mean, no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But so, all right, we're in the top 5.
Top 5. This
Do you
is
guys
where
hear
I go with it.
Kyle saying he whispers NASCAR right now?
Yeah, this is. I'm not a big NASCAR guy, so this is where we have my first red car, and Sean, just like you, I got Sean Leclerc.
Yep.
getting beat by his teammate, but still having a solid year. And there again, I think Leclerc wins the race, at least one this year.
Yeah, I agree
Pole,
with you.
but I also see him stuffing it into the wall a couple times.
Those DNFs will kill. Like I said, I mean, those DNFs are going to be absolutely killer for him because he will do it.
Yep.
Matt, fifth place.
I'm a Scott on this. I have Leclerc here. See, the thing is, like, maybe it's just me, but I think there's a lot of pressure on Leclerc being in that Ferrari. Ever since he's been there, he's been the guy. Like, oh, that's our future right there. And I think that's why he over pushes that car. I think we all can agree he has the talent to be a champion. And obviously he's notorious for over driving and over pushing, but could it be like the pressure, like, hey, you know what, you're our guy, like we want to win, and is he trying to prove people wrong and push too hard to win? Like, I don't know, but I think he gets a win this year. I don't know if he can get multiple, but I definitely have him at number 5.
And the pressure's got to be on him because I believe his teammate outdrove him last year.
Oh, 1,000% he did.
Yeah, so and that's got to be a lot of pressure. You were the guy at Ferrari, and you're being outdriven by a guy that.
But you also are signed till 2024. Like they went out and they gave you a deal. They gave you a deal.
And then they brought somebody in on a dime of what you're making, and he's out driving you.
Right, I'm with you there. I'm with you.
And trust me, I'd like to make Carlos Sainz's dime. You know.
Right. Oh, right. Yeah. Exactly. We go down into my 5th place, and this is where I got my first blue car, the Red Bull, and this is where I'm going to put Checo Perez here in 5th, rounding out that top 5. I think, again, a solid season for Checo, a great job done, but we'll see. I just don't think he can go at it week in, week out there. He's going to be another great, I don't want to say a pawn, but he's going to be another great help in what I think will be a great season for Max. We'll leave it at that much there. So,
and Checo's a great teammate to Max.
Yeah.
He really is.
Yeah, they found the guy that they needed right there. Exactly. So you roll into 4th place.
4th place, we'll roll that right over. That's where I got Sergio Perez. I got to finish it in 4th.
Fair enough.
I got Sainz at number 4.
Carlos Sainz coming in 4th place there.
Yeah.
That's a good possibility, honestly.
Yeah.
So he comes in 4th place, and this is where I think our deals take a little different turn. I'm gonna put Lando in at 4th place here, and I know a lot of people.
I hope you guys are right.
I really hope
you're right.
Top 3, but I think Lando does get his win this year. I think that he does.
On and off topic, how many drivers will get their first win this year? Lando? Think Russell gets one?
I would say Russell will probably get one. Lando will get one.
I think Russell gets one early. I think Lando gets one towards the summer.
What about Carlos? Carlos is not one, right?
And
P2?
No, he's got and that's it. Yeah, so 3 drivers.
So maybe Carlos. Yeah.
So all right, we got top 4s now. Top 3. Oh. I think it's pretty obvious, right? That Scott, are you going to put Sainz?
No.
All right. I think we agree on this. I was trying to bait and switch here. We're gonna see.
I'm putting Hamilton in 3rd.
All right. I agree with
Hamilton
you
in 3rd. I think that stung for him last year. I really do, and I think that's going to take some wins out of his sails. And to be quite honest, not really that impressed with Mercedes in testing for what we know Mercedes to be. I mean, you've seen it throughout Formula One. People are on top. They're on top. They never stay there. So eventually, sometimes Mercedes is going to fall. And I just think it's going to start right now.
And I just don't think they have the teammate for him this year. I don't think Russell's the guy to really help him out and get him there. It's not a Rosberg situation with Russell. It's more of like now Mercedes is looking at their second guy like what Red Bull did when they had Gasly, when they had Kvyat, when they had Albon. That guy that just couldn't get into that cycle for him. And that's where I think we're at right now. So I
think Lewis really wanted Valtteri Bottas to stay because he really was a great teammate.
He said he was his best teammate he ever had. I mean, obviously you're pulling over for But I mean, still,
You are, and you may complain about it after the race, but you're doing it during the race.
right?
So.
Yeah, exactly. Matt, who you got P3?
Well, so before I tell you my P3, the reason why Botas was a good teammate was because his name wasn't Nico Rosberg and didn't beat him for a championship.
Right.
So I guarantee you, if Nico Rosberg was still there, he'd be the worst teammate for him. I have Lando here at number 3, and this I'm still so high on McLaren. I really do think McLaren is going to be that good this year, and I think Lando is going to really shine this year. So that makes my top 2 pretty obvious then.
Well, absolutely. I think so. You've got the. I'm not going to say the typical, but the pretty obvious top 2. But we'll go ahead. We'll start you off then. Who do you think wins the title this year?
I think Max wins it again. I just think he's now showing that he could be the face of Formula One and take over that spot that Lewis Hamilton was. And my opinion, you and I have had this discussion. I still think Silverstone was the only reason why Lewis Hamilton got back into the championship battle. Because if you factor out that race, Hamilton was not really a factor in the championship battle till Silverstone came around and he wins and Verstappen wrecks out. So I think Verstappen is probably the most consistent. He's super aggressive. We see it all the time. But he's super fast with that aggression, and it's just so hard to say like he's not going to be the back-to-back defending champion. I don't know if it's going to be as tight, but I do think Lewis is going to be second in points. I still think it's going to definitely come down to those two towards the end, but it's not going to be hey, let's have a late race restart, move all the lap cars out of the way so those two can race. I really think the Verstappen is the best driver. I really think that he really could be the face of Formula One.
Fair enough there. Scott,
Yeah.
do we agree on the title?
So you got Lewis in third also, right?
I do.
Okay.
So it's between Sainz and Verstappen right now at the end of my season.
And it is mine too. And I got to give the nod to Max.
Yeah.
I like Carlos, and I think Carlos is going to have a breakout year. And I think the Ferrari's going to start that uphill swing because we've seen him struggle for a few years. Got better a little bit last year. When you get caught
cheating, that'll put a damper on you.
Well, it wasn't cheating because it was undisclosed.
Oh yeah, okay, that's the biggest cover up. Yeah. No,
so I think they're going to come back.
I think
Ferrari always does eventually.
I think this is a really good year for Sainz. I think he does a solid job, but I would have picked Sainz. Carlos Sainz would have been my pick for the title winner if in preseason testing, over a long haul, over a short run, if his name was on top of the board. It did not hit the top of the board. Max's did hit the top of the board, and I truly think that's what it's going to be another year. I think people got bored with Lewis as a champion. Y'all might have wanted to really think of that because I think
and these do come in spurts.
We're going to see Max now. I think for the next couple of years, really doing a solid job. I think that number 1 remains number 1. Max Verstappen 1, Carlos Sainz 2. But how exciting is it going to be to see Sainz next year or this year? I should say just because that whole he's got that infectious. Attitude, he's him and Ricardo, kind of the same type of guys. Just they kind of go about it maybe a little different, but they're both the guys. They like to have fun. They really enjoy life. They can tell that they're having a good time there. So I can't wait to see. First time this dude gets a couple podiums in the couple weeks. When it's really starting to add up here. I really look forward to seeing that. I think that's going to be fun to watch.
Yep.
That was fun. That was 20 cars. So at the end of my day, Constructors Champion, it's a battle between Red Bull and Ferrari, and I think Red Bull walks away with their first Constructors Championship in a long time. Do you agree with me on that one, Scott? I think that's where it all came out.
I do, and I have Ferrari right behind him.
Yep.
And I have Mercedes kind of in that mix. But not kind of falling short for that third. I think the fourth place is going to be McLaren. I don't think they're going to be close to Mercedes, and I really don't think any of the other cars are even going to be
I gotta agree
close
with
to
you on that.
McLaren.
Yep.
And the rest of them's just, I mean, throw them in a bucket and pick them out because, I mean, I got Aston Martin, Alpine, AlphaTauri, Haas, Alfa Romeo, and Williams. But, I mean, those last 6, you can just throw a blanket over them. You don't really know.
Like I said, the mid pack is really a great battle to watch, and I look forward to that.
It will be. Yeah,
So,
it will be.
Matt, anything to add here tonight?
Other than the fact that like how I have my team rankings is completely different than how I have driver rankings. No, I'm good.
There you go. Hey, it all depends how they work together as a team there. How they work together. That was a good one. Scott, thanks so much for coming on and ranking F1 with us. I look forward to Sunday. Sunday. We get to watch a little bit, and you get to be a little tired because you get to work. And then
I got to work, but I've got to, what time's that race?
8 a.m., baby,
8
8:30, one of those, yeah.
Yeah, I get off at 8, so I will be right here and on the computer and watch it with you.
There you go. Look forward to it, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Checkers and Wreckers today, and until the next time,